documentation, make sure it's correct. If there was ever anything that was of question, I could get third-party consultation with third-party HR specialized leaders in HR, but then also too, I'd be able to access legal counsel. And so anything that came up that would be a question, I would get advice, and then I would advise and consult the executive team, and then the president or CEO. And so there's kind of, when things like that did come up, and if they did come up, that's how I would handle those things. And before we would do a termination, I would be the person that would sign off to make sure that I'm saying that I'm approving it, and that it is in fact, we're in fact in explaining the risk aspect of things to the executives, and then in terms of them making a final decision, and then making sure that all the documentation is correct. That's how any sort of issues are resolved like that. I mean, I think that, I've over the years, I've definitely seen a lot of different types of things. I don't really know about, how much you want to put that into my resume, but between us just talking, obviously, harassment issues, things like that, where there was different types of things that came up, inappropriate things that were, prohibited things, conduct, those kind of things. All those things I've handled and been involved in terminations or first and finals, or just simply documenting write-ups and those sort of things on a regular basis. So I'm very, very familiar with that aspect of things. And if you see, and also too, just to say if you look at my background, the 20 years, pretty much all of it was employee relations and coaching and training and developing people. So that's what I've been doing for over 15 to 20 years.
Oh, yes, I'm definitely going to capture this aspect in all of your experiences that we are going to capture for your resume. Exactly, this is exactly what I wanted to know about disciplinary actions that you have told me right now. So, have these incidents of harassment or anything, any negative, environmental issues over here been reduced since you implemented these measures?
Well, they're addressed immediately. I think the main thing that you can do with any sort of performance, it really starts when you hire somebody, that you set the boundaries early and often, and that you hold people accountable, and you basically talk to people and coach them and teach them and help them to be successful in their jobs. Then there's no surprises. And I think that's the big thing as far as that goes, is that you have to make sure that you bring people along and make sure that you explain things clearly to them, and then help them to be successful. And if you do that early on, then the problems are a lot less on the backside, because you don't have people being surprised when you want better performance, or you want them to do things in a certain way. There's no problems later on because they fully understand. So a lot of times these problems that you run into, where someone could be surprised when they get written up, or they're angry, or they would want to sue you, they're not surprised because they realize that their performance wasn't what it should have been, or they realized that they already knew that they were underperforming. So those, you eliminate the surprises, a lot of times it eliminates all the other problems as well.
Okay, that's really good to hear that you have been able to reduce these incidents by putting a process in place. So I'm going to ask you about this experience. Do you want to talk about any other initiatives or any other project that you specifically did for this experience? And then we can maybe move on to the next experience.
I'm taking a look right now, and I'm kind of scanning over this sheet. I think you covered an awful lot. I think that's pretty much it right there. Um, yeah, that I covered pretty much everything with you. I mean, as far as what I can see on my sheet of just overall things in the company. I
Okay.
think one other aspect I would say is just really important to know, is that when I was hired for the company, I was hired directly by the CEO president of the company, and I worked directly with that person every day. And that person, he ran the company for 10 years or 15 years before I got there. And he basically, I came in as a person that was a direct directly related with him and working to grow the company, to put all processes for HR in place, and really coaching and guiding and helping to improve performance. And so when I that relationship grew, and then over the course of probably the next 2 years after that, the owner sold the company to a larger company. So it was a really great experience doing that, and that also paved the way for the executive team that I interact with now, and how the relationship works. So I'm really, I'm really, I am on the executive team, and I am one of the main people within the company that are counted on to represent the company and professionally represent the company as a group. And I'm counted on. My opinion is very valued within the company. Just to give you an idea. That's it.
Okay, that's really nice. So, did you play any part in this new acquisition that your company is going through?
Yes, both this acquisition and the previous one, when we were bought out in 2016, I was very active involved in all the due diligence process from the HR standpoint. All the documentation, all the spreadsheets, whether it's benefits and compensation, all aspects of business licensing, understanding all the tax information, all those sort of things that have to do with payroll, and any of those related items. The 401k, anything to do with the payroll side of things or the HR side of things. I was involved in the acquisition.
Okay, so has there been any significant challenge during these acquisitions for you?
Well, there's always a challenge because when you go from being an individual private company to having another company own you, there's change a lot of change that can happen. So yes, I mean, as far as affecting me, what it does is it puts you in a position where you're now looking at change management. You're looking at the process of change. You're helping the employees to understand the process of change, and helping them to move through the process of change, and helping the company to it's a lot of integration of the mission, the vision, mission, and values with the new company, and how they relate or how they are connected, and helping the employees to see that, so that they don't feel like, well, we're different than this, we're not like this is how these people are, this is how we are. So it's really important to focus on that aspect of things, because you want to help people feel connected to the new company and not feel like it's a foreign group, like they don't know us, we don't know them. And that is the challenge of any type of acquisition or merger, because you want to make sure that the employees feel that they're being treated fairly, and that they understand they're still part of the same team, and that things are not changing as dramatically as they might think they were, and how it could be positive for them.
So basically, you comforted the employees during the acquisition process. So that's a good point as well.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
okay. So should we move on to the next experience now, the fresh and easy
Sure.
one?
Sure.
Okay. So start with again your day-to-day responsibilities and handling the store overall.
Yeah, I mean, with that store, with that company is part of a much larger corporation. I think you probably have the information, but um, they they decided to Tesco. Tesco is the name of the company. It's a company from England. They decided to open up the fresh and easy neighborhood markets, and at the time, I was hired to be a store manager to help them open stores. Um, just to let you know, there's very, very, very. I'll say this: there are a lot of applicants, and I was selected to help them open up a store, and then actually be involved in helping to organize and keep stores to help stores do well. My title was store manager, but I was able to help out in several different stores, to help them, run effectively as far as the operation sides of things, and train people, and be involved in training and that sort of stuff. So my overall job is was simply, when you look at it from just the aspects of being a store manager, I was responsible for the operations within a store, and I also had the opportunity to help within other stores as well.
So basically, you help them set up the store and then run day-to-day operations of that store over here. So, how many employees did you have?
Um, Great question. I have to think about that one. It wasn't nearly as many as I had it at Home Depot, that's for sure. I would say probably the most that I would have within one store would probably be about 14 people, 14 to 16 people. And probably three of those would be direct reports that would be leads or a department, it's kind of more like a supervisor, I guess. Um, and they would be running the rest of the store. Um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean, I think that the just the day-to-day operations. They're a very efficient company. They have a lot. They had a lot of programs and projects that they would roll out continuously. Very active, involved in all aspects of training and development of employees. Very strong in training and development of employees. I can tell you that, very, very strong on that. And I was actually the person that was doing the training and the coaching with individual people to not only bring the leaders up to manager roles, but also training individual employees that we felt that were high potentials to help them become leads or supervisors as well. So I was really actively involved with that.
So, what I wanted to understand is that was it a chain of stores like you opened over the over a certain state or something like this, or was it one store?
It was in Southern California and in San Diego at Market, and I opened up one store in Oceanside, and then I was actually involved in helping with two other stores that were being updated and I guess not renovated, but just updated and reorganized because as they would turn over a manager or something would happen, I would go in the system. So I was able to assist within the market. And then I actually took over another store that was a larger store here in close by where I live, and so I moved over to a different store. So there's like several different things that I did. It was training, it was helping others to grow, it was going into different markets. What happened was when I joined the company, I was one of the people that was selected to help open stores. So when they opened a new store, I would be able to help them set up that store and be involved in doing that. But yeah, I mean, we opened probably I think 5, 6 stores in San Diego, and one of them
Okay.
one of them one of them was immediately mine, and then I kind of helped with some of the others. But then within the market, as I was doing my job, my role as a store manager at my location, I would also be asked to help out in other stores.
Okay. So, when you talk about training, can you like quantify how many people did you train over the period of some years here at this company?
Yeah, I was with them for roughly about 2 years, so I would say the training would probably be close to. Well, there's a lot of training. I pretty much trained all the employees, so it really just wasn't one because we would have meetings every single week, and lots of training. So I would say, if you just took it 20, you had 14 people, 14 people at an average in a store in over 2 years, 14 just probably 150 trainings, I'm sure, or something like that. But I mean, it's over a two
Okay.
year period.
It can be just an ballpark figure. That's fine. So, can you let me know about the process that you went through for talent acquisition over here?
Well, it was very structured. The talent acquisition, basically, the company would place the ad, but I was responsible to interview all the folks and have them go through the interview process. What I would have to do is I would have to go through and use a structured interview process with a scoring system that they had developed, and interview the employees, and then hire the employees for the store, or hire the employees that would be within the market, needed within the market.
Okay, so what about the different, again, let's talk about the benefits management or the compensation plans that you introduce over here.
Well, the all of the benefit plans and those sort of things, those were all things that were done through the corporate office. So rolling those out to the employees, there was trainings, there's benefit trainings that would happen. I would be involved in the trainings aspect of things like that. But really, more of my role in that role was really customer service focused, being in stock, making sure you met the grocery store requirements for health and safety. Those sort of things were really important. You know, food safety, food handling, that kind of stuff. Um,
Okay.
but real, but Yeah, that's really what that one, because it's grocery. It was a grocery store, so it was very focused on food handling and safe food handling and managing the process of getting things from the truck to the floor to the cooler to stocking the product to make sure it was all getting to the cooler safely and quickly. That was the aspect of
So,
that job.
let's talk about this process, the inventory management process. So, what kind of challenges did you face in managing the inventory, and how did you resolve them?
In managing the inventory,
Yeah.
well, the how to yeah, it was storage, organization, organization of the stock room, organization of food storage, accurately cycle counting and accounting for all product, all making sure that had very little waste, making sure that the waste was accounted for. That we did donations if the food would expire and someone wouldn't buy it. We marked it down, but then if someone didn't buy it, we would do a thing where we do donations to different nonprofit groups. Just making sure that we were very safe in our food handling and making sure that everything was accounted for and that there was no out of stocks. That was the real key thing, is on shelf and no out of stocks, making sure that the inventory turn was really strong, really happened quickly, and that we were constantly in stock with product for the shelf, and that everything was priced correctly throughout the company, throughout the store rather. Making sure that I mean, those are the things, is foods, making sure the food got to the floor, making sure it was safe, the food was good food, wasn't expired, making sure that all the pricing on the shelves were correct, making sure that all the stock happened within that same day and everything got out to the floor. That was, that was the job, and then making sure that the customers were taken care of on the front end of the customer service, of getting through the registers and doing their self checkout and those sort of things. That was really the focus of that job.
Okay, so you have written that I built a diverse and inclusive environment. Can you let me know the challenges that you faced for developing this inclusive environment, and what was it about basically?
Well, I was just trying, in that particular bullet, I was just trying to reference the fact that, even though you have, I had, very, while I did interview folks, I think I had a direct ability to build a diverse